Caroline Gertler. How are you this evening?
I'm great. How are you?
I am excellent, and I am thrilled to chat with you. I've been looking forward to this all day. We were talking earlier. I've been in remote first grade, coming back from the holidays, and so I'm going to have an adult conversation tonight about books and editing and all kinds of wonderful things and art. So we're going to have hopefully a wonderful time. Where I always ask folks to start is I do not summarize other people's biographies, and I don't summarize other people's books because I will make a mess of both. So if you would kind of give esteemed audience a little bit of an overview of your background, and we'll go from there.
So I grew up in New York City. I was actually born in Connecticut, and then my family moved to New York. And I'm the third of four children, which is a very good role in the family in terms of becoming an observer of life. And I always wanted to write. I'm definitely someone who just knew that I wanted to be a writer from a very young age. And I taught myself to read when I was very young, and just loved reading as a middle grade reader. And then I went to college thinking that I was going to major maybe in East Asian studies. I was studying Japanese actually, but I also loved English. And I think I was deciding where to study abroad for my junior year, either Japan or Oxford. And I decided to choose Oxford and sort of go that English direction of studying English. And then I did an internship in publishing. And again, when I went to the career services to look up internships, I was in New York City. There was a choice between, I applied to two publishing internships. One was for adult publishing and one was with children's. And I went to both interviews, and at the adult publishing editor was like, oh, this is your filing area. You'll be doing a lot of filing and busy work. And then I went to interview with Christy Ottaviano at Henry Holt. And she was like, well, I don't have an editorial assistant, so you'll be doing editorial assistant work as my intern. And that sort of launched my career in children's books. And I went on to do other things before I came back to being an editor. And then I eventually moved into the writing side. So it's been I could spend a lot more time telling you the path I took to get there. That's the sort of fast version.
Oh, I'd love to break down some of that because there is a lot to unpack there. Before we do that, I know that publicists and editors listen to the show, and they like to hear me say that Many Points of Me released here January 12th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, January 12th next week. So here's the finished copy.
Congratulations on the big launch. I've got so many questions about the book. And I'm going to ask because I'm fascinated by this idea of children's book editor now becomes author and has to be edited. So I've got lots of questions about some stylistic things that I noticed along the way. But I have to ask, you sound like you have a bit of an interest just in everything. Because I know you've got an MA in art history. Is that right?
Yes, I have an MA in art history. I did not study art history. I went to Columbia for undergraduate, Columbia University. And the great thing about Columbia is that they have this core curriculum, which I know there's a lot of debate now about classics, and Columbia, even at that time, was sort of re-examining what it meant to study the classics, but it was really sort of based in this idea of studying classical civilization, literature, art, science, kind of a little bit of everything, and looking at it in a cross-disciplinary way by forcing you to take classes in different areas. So for example, we'd be studying the Parthenon in art history while you're reading the Odyssey in English class, and then studying Greek philosophy in philosophy class. And yeah, those all come together. So to me, I became very interested in the sort of like cross-disciplinary studies, but art history was not the main thing. And then after college, I ended up spending some time in the art world and getting a master's degree in 17th century Dutch art. I was kind of veering away from my English publishing life to exploring the art and museum world. But then I eventually came back to publishing. So I do have a lot of different interests, and sort of I'm interested in how they meet in different ways and how they intersect.
Obviously, that's only going to be a benefit to you as you're launching your author career because of all the different topics you'll be able to write about. Did you, when you were doing that, do you operate with, okay, here's my clear goal. 5 years from now, I'm going to be here? Or was it just, I love all of these things, and I want to passionately pursue all of them and just be fulfilled with the excitement of the benefit that that's going to bring to my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was at that age. My parents were very generous in sort of allowing me to explore that at that time and to be able to do these different things and kind of explore these different paths. I think I was trying to figure out, what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be, and I was lucky to be able to explore in different ways. And I think I was sort of looking for a passion and an end goal, and I think I always knew it was writing somehow, but I didn't know how that would fit in. And I think, I thought about doing a PhD at one point, and I remember the tutor I was studying in England at that point, and she said, well, I just don't see you like being the type to sit there and do research all day in a library. I mean, she kind of told me that, and I was like, I hadn't really been told that often to my face, like, maybe this isn't for you. And it wasn't a very direct way, but I sort of took that to heart and thought, it's not really my thing to be a researcher. And so, yeah, I think I just sort of had to take my time to get to where I felt like I knew what I wanted and how to achieve it. So
here's a question that's probably just my own ignorance. Most questions are. But how is studying art history, where I assume there's a tremendous amount of research and memorizing of artists and facts and just a whole world of knowledge, how would that be different than the research required for a PhD?
I guess a PhD is just one small topic. I mean, it's such a narrow topic, and I mean, I guess in the academic work I did do, and not to undersell myself, which I tend to do, but I did it in England. I did my master's at the Courtauld Institute of Art in London, and again, maybe I don't think anyone from there will be listening, but it's just I don't think it has the same rigor as an American master's degree in terms of requirements and level of detail in terms of research. So I did my share of research, but it was never my thing. So I sort of somehow, I think I wrote about the connection between proverbs and history, painting, and 17th century Dutch art. So it was sort of intersecting literature and art even then. And so I think I was able to kind of, make it my own thing and not as research based as it needed to be. I mean, I did do some research, but I'm not big on researching. I sort of like to do things intuitively and off by the seat of my pants.